Katie, thank you so much for joining me and having this all-Atlantic conversation.
Thank you so much for having me today.
So first of all, tell the viewers a little bit about you and your work.
Absolutely. My name is Katie Geddes, and I work for the U.S. National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA. I work in the International Activities Office for the Oceanic and Atmospheric Research branch of the agency, and we're responsible for research and development and creating new products for the other parts of NOAA to utilize. And within the International Affairs Office for the Research and Development branch of NOAA, we work to set up international research projects, and we also engage in some of those science policy discussions at an international level in order to take our research outward and connect with the wonderful research that's happening in the field all around the world. So it's definitely relevant for us to be here during the All-Atlantic meetings, and we're really excited to be a part of it, and I'm excited to be speaking with you today.
So given that international and collaboration and crossing oceans is central to your work, what can you say about the North-South relationship? How important is that?
It's extremely important for us, and I've been delighted to be involved in the Galway Statement, which was signed several years ago, which is between the US, Canada, and the European Union. And we've been delighted to be engaged in the development and implementation of the Belém Statement as well, and very excited to see that connection take off between Brazil, South Africa, and the European Union. And we do a lot of work in the South Atlantic. We have a number of ocean observing arrays and really a variety of both research and operational programs in the area. And a lot of our weather also forms in the South Atlantic before it moves northward and affects us. And so we are very committed to taking our work internationally throughout the entire Atlantic basin, not just for the benefit of US citizens and protecting lives and property, but also for the advancement of knowledge and sharing data and information with all of the partners. There are a lot of reasons why the all-Atlantic approach will benefit all of us.
So the ocean plays such a significant part in all our lives. It touches the economy, food, weather, as you mentioned. Do you think that the message of the power and the importance of the ocean is reaching beyond the ocean science, policy, political landscape and actually reaching citizens who also have a big role to play?
You know, I think there is room to improve in that area, and it's something that we actually think about quite a lot at NOAA. How can we convey these messages to citizens, both in the US and in other countries? We're very interested in doing that. And I think it's something that scientists honestly can struggle with, both scientists and managers. And it's something that we have discussed in a lot of international meetings as well as domestic meetings. And I think that's actually a strength of youth and early career professionals. And I'm a bit older than this group, but I think Gen Z in particular really shines in this area, and they're so skilled with using social media and things like TikTok and really connecting with people and taking these messages outward in a really palatable and digestible way, in a fun way as well. So I think making that connection to citizens with our work can really be benefited through engaging youth in our organizations to the extent that we can. And like I said, I think we're still working on doing that and bringing in youth in a more meaningful way. But it's certainly a very timely discussion to have.
And so what will be the real and tangible impacts of all-Atlantic cooperation? It's a huge statement. We know that the tagline for this upcoming conference is connecting, acting, cooperating. But do you have any tangible examples that bring that to life?
Sure. I can think of some examples, and I think this cooperation is a really remarkable opportunity to, first of all, bring different stakeholders together from around the basin as we have discussed. And I think one of the greatest benefits of doing this is the ability to identify synergies between different projects that are currently underway. in order to leverage similar activities to have an even greater impact. For example, I mentioned observing in the South Atlantic. Something that we're involved with here at NOAA is called the Parada program, which is an array of moored buoys in the South Atlantic that take all sorts of data. That's an activity between the US, France, and Brazil. And there are several initiatives like that that are already being led by the All Atlantic partners. So I think through this endeavor, we can identify those projects that are already really robust examples of international collaboration and making them even stronger and creating a network for these programs through this high-level initiative. I also think the All Atlantic Youth Ambassadors is a great example of a program that has come out of this high-level collaboration and has really provided the next generation with training, professional development, and also leadership opportunities, which is so important and really essential for the future of the All Atlantic program. And I think international science policy meetings happen quite a lot, and we talk a lot about these ideas and things that we want to achieve, like connecting better with citizens. And again, I think really bringing in youth of all levels down to high school students, university students, early career professionals is really a way to ensure the sustainability of this cooperation.
So, I've been looking at the agenda, the program, and engaging with those in the ocean science community across social over the past number of months. And it really feels to me as an outsider looking in, but working on this project, that this event is like the Oscars of the ocean science. Who's who of this sector and cross all verticals, cross industries, is involved. It really is a remarkable opportunity for people to get involved. And of course, it's free, but it's, as you say, it's such a high level. Everybody that is involved in preserving, protecting, and even the development and understanding that ocean, it's so vast, is going to be there. What would you say to people who maybe haven't registered so far? They really should, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great opportunity to get involved and to learn more about this program that's really connecting so many different countries and regions of the world. And I think it's important to remember that no contribution is too small, and every participant will have a valued opportunity to provide that input. And we're really going to make sure that scientists from all around the basin will be able to derive a benefit from engaging in these events.
I think that's such an important message, that every contribution from every single individual or project or organization that come along can make a material difference, because oftentimes people might be a little bit overwhelmed by the program, by the lineup, and think that their value isn't relevant. But I'm really delighted that you've said that. What is NOAA's vision for collaboration? So let's say, we think about the UN Decade of Ocean Science. What does success look like for NOAA in 10 years' time? I know that's a big question.
That's a great question, actually. And I feel like I should take a moment to really think it through. But I think something that's really important for us is not taking the way that we approach scientific questions and just replicating it in other areas. And I think that's something that can be easy to do, low-hanging fruit, I would say. Taking ocean observing systems, for example, that work quite well for us, and implementing a similar arrangement in the global south, for example, and not working with people on the ground to make sure that what we do is actually beneficial to the citizens of that place, and engaging with scientists in other countries from the beginning of the process if it's a collaborative endeavor. It's really important for us not to just kind of replicate what we're doing in other places when we want to do international work, but make it much more meaningful and useful for those scientists and also for the end users of that data. And I heard a really interesting argument the other day about how COVID kind of demonstrated where we have those gaps. I believe it was during one of the workshops related to the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, but I heard another woman say, if your project could not continue during the COVID quarantine, then you've done something wrong because you had not trained a local scientist in that faraway place. So you need to have someone that you have engaged with to the extent that if something like this happens, they can pick up the ball and keep running with it in that area. And I thought that was a really great example. And it's kind of a high bar to make sure that we always do that, but I think it's really important. And I think that would be our top priority to keep in mind for the next 10 years, making sure everything is participatory and inclusive.
So finally, Katie, what is your own hope for outcomes from the All Atlantic 2021 conference?
Oh, absolutely. I think it will be really exciting to see the partners that have been involved since the early years continuing that conversation. So US, Canada, EU, Brazil, South Africa, but also bringing in those new partners who have, I believe, signed implementing arrangements with the EU to be involved, who were not among those original signatories. So I think continuing to bring in new partners, also new voices, as we have discussed, between youth, and I would love to see an equal amount of women participating at all levels, including the leadership roles as well. Diversity, in many senses, I think is extremely important. And we have seen that as part of these events for these years, but I think we can always improve in that regard. So bringing in more new faces and new countries to the table, and people of all ages at all sorts of levels in the organization will be really important. And making sure we continue to collaborate on these research projects and answering these big policy questions that can really make the Atlantic more sustainable for the benefit of everyone.
Katie Geddes, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Joanne.